Welcome back to the Bold, White, and Blue podcast. Boy, it seems like it's been a while. We've got a fresh set here, almost like a fresh cut.
So
Got Dave here. What's up, Dave? It's David Cornforth, HVAC extraordinaire.
HVAC extraordinaire.
The PhD of HVAC, Dr. Dave.
That's what they say. That's what they say. So it's cool to finally come up here and see what you guys have been working on and come out of the field.
Or not working on.
Working on.
Josh, you've been slacking, man. We've missed 2 weeks of these podcasts.
I got people asking me, what are y'all doing? I'm trying to watch.
I'm about ready to fix something. You all keep going. Carry on.
All right.
I have had a few people ask me.
That's good.
Yep, I've had a few people ask me.
There, is that better?
What you think about
I feel ready to shout it out. I've got some information here.
Let us know about it.
Huh?
Let us know about it.
Before I get started today, I just want to know about that wire hanging out up there in that corner.
I don't know what that is.
What is that?
That's by design.
What is that?
That's by design. That's gonna be. It's a secret. I can't tell you right now.
That's actually an old timey phone cord, but I'm not. I put it in there, and I don't even know why I put it in there.
Years ago, when we were remodeling this, we planned that for a very specific reason.
Do they use telephones anymore?
Do we trying to put a landline over there?
I can't remember. Oh, I know what it was. I think that was. Is that Cat 5?
It looks like it.
I think I wanted to put a security camera recording piece in there or something. Anyway,
it was for the podcast.
It's for the.
Look,
it was.
You didn't even know
I put
it
it there for today.
You didn't even know it. It was just written. It was supposed to be.
What kind of day we have today is one of those days where in the service industry, owners like sometimes check themselves in. You know, It's gray. It's lukewarm. You want to spew your employees out of your mouth sometimes, you know.
It's definitely not.
It's not that snappy day.
No, it ain't a snappy.
It's a crappy day.
Yeah, it's not your typical January day where you wake up, you put your long johns on, you get you some coffee, and you get after it. You get going. It feels good outside. You got a good job ahead of you.
Yeah, it's just
it's muggy. It's humid. It's 70 degrees.
The techs have all come off of like 4 years of sickness in our company.
Every job that we've gotten a phone call from the techs from has been
just disaster.
Isn't that crazy?
Problematic.
And we're still winning.
You take that. You take that.
You tell me that. I don't know if we're still winning, but we're trying.
Flu game.
No, we're winning. We're winning.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we're 3 days out from tying last January if we were able to execute the work. I mean, because of sickness we couldn't, but the sales wise, granted it's come in strange and mysterious ways, but sales wise, I think we're like there or 10,000 less. Now we still have to deliver on the goods, which is a whole another week, so it puts you behind a little bit. Well, so on a technicality, if we had the manpower present, and had the manpower present.
Well, I mean, I feel like, because the other day I came into the shop and...
How do you say it? I have the wherewithal and the inclination, but I fail to find the time.
I guess. That was floating around in your own brain up there. I ain't never heard that one.
I thought that was from something.
It is.
What was it from?
I modified it slightly.
Sounds like a John Wayne
movie. It ain't the Bible.
It is John Wayne. It is an old John Wayne movie.
True Grit? No, it can't be that obvious.
Cowboys.
Oh, the Cowboys.
I pulled that one out of a hat.
Cowboys. Where the old cook went to the little wagon with the painted ladies. And he said, I have the wherewithal and the inclination, but I fail to have the time.
Oh, John Wayne.
That's good. Classic.
You pulled that one out.
That must have snuck into my subliminals, like listening to my dad watching those movies back in the day.
I made them watch all those John Wayne movies.
Oh, yeah. I like them. They're good. He got some classics. But, I was saying earlier, though, like, somebody had made the comment in the office, like, the phone ain't ringing or something. But it's funny, being out there in the field, we don't ever hardly feel that. You know, we just go one day at a time. And since I came on here, it's been steady growth and busyness every year. Year over
How long
year.
have you been at Ace?
This is my what is it, Dad? 4 years now, I think.
At least 4 years.
4 or 5. This is my 5th year, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe my 5th year. Yeah. So And we've come a long ways.
Yeah, we were just pulling out earlier. We were pulling out when they first came to work for me. We were pulling out. We did all paper invoicing still, and they were all clowning each other's handwriting and ticket prices and all those things like that. Not collecting emails. Just so many processes that we've learned to get better at.
Yeah. We were kind of minimum yield. We were minimum yield, but
we knew that.
But yeah, we knew that obviously because
when someone pointed us the right way and said, "Hey, there's a better way to do this," we were humble.
How many people do you think are still doing that, like taking that approach?
I think that's dying to death, but I do think a lot of older plumbers probably still do it. But this generation here, it's so they just know these phones and stuff so easy. So I don't think they're doing paper invoices, but you can do paper invoices and have a paper invoice mentality without physically writing paper invoices. So you can use some sort of platform to invoice electronically, but still not have any kind of process for sure.
Yeah, no.
So would you say, David, as a tech, did you say that it's healthy to not even know if you're busy or slow? Or would you say that it helps you as a tech to understand times when there's more sense of urgency? Or would you just rather just not even know?
I would say 100%. If I could not know, I don't want to know.
Really?
Yeah, I'd rather, because to me that keeps your performance emotional. You know what I mean? So
right.
It's your performance isn't consistent. So I'd rather, and this is where it's hard for me coming from commercial background and production type work, moving into the service realm. I would rather not have to worry about selling. I'd rather not have to worry about discounts, the energy guide, rebates, all the things that go into that you have to know to sell an HVAC system to somebody. I would much rather sit there and get into the weeds on how the system operates, how it, all the idiosyncrasies within the system, and that's what I enjoy. And so the less I have to know about business, the less I have to know about closing rates, the happier I am. But at the same time, I don't know, you tell me what you think, Dad, but to me, if you want to get the experience of being able to get into the weeds on wiring things and learning things, you have to be able to sell it, because your competition, that's what they do. That's how they get those good guys, is they have somebody there who can sell the work. And so that's been one thing that I've really had to learn a lot about coming to ACE, and it's been really good probably for me, is just learning how to communicate with people, not in like a pushy type way, but just learning how to communicate and pushing past just the technical knowledge and pushing past just the know-how, and actually learning to communicate and establish trust with somebody over the products that you're pushing. So but back to your question, I'm
gonna argue that we don't push a product though.
No.
I would say we're more of a mindset that we lead a customer to a product.
Yeah.
I'm gonna change the conversation a minute, because I've been really high on Halo 5 water filtration systems.
Yep.
Okay, and we're actually dedicating 20 days of training the month of January to our technicians. There are 2 days that I do have some tankless water heater training that we have to go do. But anyway, we're dedicating 22 days. That's every single normal hour working day. In some level, our morning starts with water filtration training.
Yeah.
And if no one buys it, I'm going to have to struggle with the intelligence of the people around me after watching this. Because I can do tests. I can take pH levels. I can take chlorine tests. I can take and show so many things that are wrong with our water and the health effects that it has on us. I have my own testimony of that and how healthy I've become as a result of getting that water out of my system, how I've been not sick, my kids haven't been sick, and then seeing how much sickness has been around. Now I'm just like, I literally want to give them to each one of my guys, but I think the cost on those things is $2,000. So gets to be expensive, but I'm trying to give strong encouragement and spiffs to the guys that, hey, look, put these in your own home for your kids, for your health. And so, I mean, I don't even remember where I was going with that, but anyway, it has to do with
maybe
not pushing products,
yeah.
but more so actually knowing about the product and leading people to it. You know, it's like leading a horse to water. You can't make them drink. Literally, they'll drink chlorine water or they won't. You know, and but we've had some fascinating discoveries with our water filtration. I know we took as a group and tested my water out of the Halo. It was absolutely pH balanced correctly. The chlorine levels were non-existent. And then we took the same water company in front of the Halo system. It was loaded with chlorine. And this is after I've been running mine for a year. So it hasn't channeled. It hasn't done anything to become ineffective. It actually is installed. It actually works as advertised. And I mean, we're selling these things for about $4,000. And it's like, people are like, well, $4,000, like, I'm just putting that on in my house. I'm like, okay, that's fine. And I told one guy, I said, you have the money. You just choose not to do it. And that's fine too.
Yeah.
But how much do you spend on bottled water? How much would you spend on bottled water if you had to bathe in it? Because we found with water that our skin, and I can actually show a person in a free test that I can actually show them that your skin absorbs chlorine within 5 minutes. And the amount that it soaks up is incredible.
Your skin's an organ, you know, so it's going to suck all that stuff right up. It's crazy.
And that water test we do shows that. And so you say, well, you know, I've got a filter on my sink. I always just drink good water. That's fine, but your skin is taking in more water and more chlorine when you shower every day than you're drinking in your water. So how are you treating that water? How are you washing your clothes? How are you cooking your food? You know, I think the average American uses about 300 gallons of water a day.
Yeah.
Nuts, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nuts.
Let's take toilet flushing out. Let's say it's 150 gallons, 200 gallons of water a day. The average family uses. If you had to bottle 200 gallons of water and pay, let's say, 15 cents for that bottle of water, you know how much the average American spends in bottled water over
it's got to be
10-year
high.
period?
It's got to be up there.
I mean, you're spending
100,000.
hundreds of thousands of dollars over a lifetime, you know, $1 million probably over the lifetime of that filter.
Yeah, I
Like
think that's what we
900.
found was pretty much like 90,000 a year.
Yeah, 900,000.
So like $1 million over the course of the lifespan of the product.
And I'm offering you to give you that water for $4,000 guaranteed. And your health, and we can get into this. I don't want to try to get into water filtration right now, but this is talking about product pushing versus product leading. I mean, I think every home in America should have this filtration system on it. Now, I also want to say this. I want the city to continue putting lots of chlorine in the water because they need to do their job. And I'm not knocking the municipalities. I'm just telling you what the water you're getting to drink is crap. Literally crap.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, they're treating sewage and sending the water back to you through a process that is tried and true. Okay. Now, the chemicals that they use to treat that with aren't going to kill you today. They're not going to kill you tomorrow, but they're going to probably kill you eventually, or they're going to give you very bad quality of life. Yeah. That's your personal responsibility at that point. They've done their job. They've given you safe water that won't kill you today. They've given you stuff loaded with chemicals. Do you want to take those in? Do you want to deal with kidney failure, liver disease? Do you want to deal with eczema? Do you want to deal with premature aging? Do you want to deal with eczema? Do you want to deal with dry scalp and dandruff? Do you want to deal with lots of different things that come from the over 18 different chemicals in there that are known carcinogens? If you want to deal with that and you're good with that, then I'm not going to tell you need a water filtration system. I'd be crazy. Like, look, that's the way you like to roll, man. It's good.
Yeah.
I don't. And for $4,000, I don't. And I won't for 10 years. It's a very, very, very cheap investment. It's $40 a year or something, right? Is that right? No, $400 a year.
I can't do math on the spot.
Sorry, $400 a year. I was a little wrong. Yeah, exactly. For clean, fresh water to bathe my children in. Water. I mean, I have kids in sports. I think it. So you're not dehydrated. I don't know if you've ever have you ever drank bottled water? Do you ever feel like, oh man, I just satisfied my thirst?
Certain brands. certain brands like the smart water is a bad one. When I drink smart water, I feel like I drank water straight from the ocean, or my body's telling me that because I'm thirsty as all get out. It makes it worse. Other brands are good, but there's so much information out there now. You remember when Fiji water got real popular and came out? It was like the volcanic tube water and all that. Voss, like all these high-end premium waters, and everybody was buying those. I remember it.
Yep.
It wasn't that long ago. And but then you get information coming out saying like, oh, half of these come from the same place. And so now it's just kind of leaves you in this place where you're not even really sure. You know what I mean? So that is nice about the Halos because it's right there. It's point of use straight at your house. It makes me wonder too, because you're talking about mandates. Because like, in the HVAC world, we've got Department of Energy standards, the SEER 2 updates that have come down the pipeline every couple of years, and guys who've been in the industry a lot longer than me could probably tell you exactly how often it happens. But even in the time that I've been in it, it seems like every couple of years something's changing, energy standard, something that's required now. And I wonder what's going to come down the pike for water filtration at homes. If they're going to start pushing some of that.
I've wondered
as a obligation, maybe from a seller to a buyer.
Oh, they're never going to do that. They want point of
view.
They want to kill us at a certain age for sure.
Yeah, keep their thumb on us, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. I had to throw that in there. I want me a good conspiracy theorist conversation.
I like me a good conspiracy theory.
We can go off the deep end with that. All that.
Look, they done their job. They took the crap out of the crap and sent you more crap. So it's your job to filter out that crap so you can drink some water. That's really where we're at.
They keep it from killing you. You're not going to die from cholera or whatever you call it. Whatever the dudes were dying from in the 1800s.
Cholera or whatever that is. Yeah.
We ain't going to get that. But
diphtheria.
Diphtheria.
Something. Hepatitis.
Some sort of pioneer disease. We ain't going to have that no more. But it comes with its other problems with it.
Yep.
Just like everything.
And so, anyway, that's a product that, I know we found ourselves really gonna invest in ourselves and our training and stuff like that. But Dave, since I was able to trap you up here, talk about a little bit about air quality too while we're at it. We might as well. Because that goes the same. If you're scrubbing water, you can scrub air. What products are we using? What products are you having success with there?
Air quality is it's definitely pretty cool. The main product we've been pushing is the brand called Dynamic Air.
We've been leading with the main product. We've been leading.
Yeah. Well, when I say he's not liking that word push. Yeah. So when I say
we offer. We're not gonna push nobody though.
No. I'm not saying we push people for it, but we're pushing their product for the manufacturer. That's why they reach out to us so we can sell their stuff.
Right.
So we bring that product to our consumers, if you will. And two, even on the push, a lot of it's internally for me, because again, like I said earlier, that's not who I am. And so I would rather just sit there and be technical and not have to worry about talking to you about price, talk to you about warranties, talk to you about nothing. I just want to sit there and work and fix stuff. And so push too, I do use that word quite a bit, but pushing is also pushing myself to bring those options to people and believing that that's what people want. And they do, and it's the same for me. When I take my car to a mechanic, like I don't feel like he's pushing me if he's telling me legitimate options that he can show me proof on. You know what I mean? So pushing in that sense, when I say the word push, it's just talking about even internally for me, learning to present that product, but
when you get into go ahead, because I know you want to talk about this air quality. I know they have different components that scrub the air, that kill germs, cure airborne diseases, particulates are filtered out, some ozone levels can be added back in. So I know in our office we have it, and when you turn it up, you can smell it. It's very, very fresh. So if we're doing the best we can and we're offering scrubbed air and scrubbed water, we're perfecting people's lives and protecting them, which is what you see on our mission statement. We're here to protect and perfect. Taking and clearing someone's backed up toilet, what are we doing? I mean, we're perfecting their way of life. They don't have to go in a bucket. You know, they can use their toilet again. We're protecting their home. It's not going to back up and damage floors and things like that. So, you know, you have your run-of-the-mill things we do. A dripping faucet, which, by the way, I've got to get fixed at my house. I've got to put that on the books. But anyway, leaking faucets, dripping faucets, things like that. You know, you're protecting a home. Leaky pipes, you're protecting a home. But so much of our mission is way beyond protecting the home. It's about perfecting people's lives, perfecting their homes and their health, their lives. And, you know, we're not health experts, so we have to lean on those experts. We have to make sure that we go to these seminars, we go to practice, we go down to Florida, we go, you know, David, you were in Texas not long ago.
Yep.
You know, learning more about the S series, right?
Yeah, the S series. Yeah, it's just an increase in our standard of living. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, it's increasing our standard of living. Mm-hmm. Probably at any point in time, any new product, even central air conditioning, like my grandparents, probably you, Dad, a little bit growing up, but I know my grandparents, like they didn't even have central AC. Yeah. It wasn't an option. You just didn't have it. So
we had central air, but in California they don't use it as much in Southern California. But in the Gulf Coast we did have central air, but you did see a lot of window units still and things like that back then.
I would say from my studies on the history a little bit of air conditioning itself, air conditioning hasn't been really mainstream as a commonly accepted staple of every house, but for the last maybe 80 years, 70 years. So
not been around long.
No, it hasn't been around very long, and we can thank Mr. Willis Carrier for that, you know. So anyways, what I was saying was it increased in standard. So it's the same with air quality, you know. You're just simply raising the standard for what we've accepted as a society for however long.
So do you think that the same way when Willis Carrier started central air conditioning for homes in America, do you think that eventually, like, you know, at one point 10% of the homes had it, and 20%, so on and so forth, right now we probably have like less than 10% of the homes in America have indoor air quality. More businesses, hospitals, things have it, but homes not so much. Do you think we're going to see where that becomes where it's kind of standard?
Yeah, I'd be curious. I kind of lean towards yes. I know in our area here in the upstate, there's a few builders that are starting to, like in some of these spec houses and stuff like that, where they're just building several hundred homes at a time. There's some builders that have taken on as part of their blanket installation some sort of air quality, some sort of UV light system, some sort of ionization. And so you kind of know that, to me, is a telltale sign when big companies that just build a lot of houses a year, when they feel like they can put that in, because, you know, they're very conscious of their bottom dollar. And when they feel like that they want to put that in, it's kind of a trend that's here for a little while. So, yeah, I'd be curious to see how far that it comes in our lifetime. I'm sure at some point it'll just be like another thing, you know. But yeah, the sky's the limit with air quality. We kind of focus a lot on UV systems and ionization products, basically cleaning the air up. You know, if you're on one side of the house and your son is sick in his room and the door's open and the return air is right there in the hallway, and Dad's on the other end of the house in the office working, and he sneezes and projectile, you know, throws these all kinds of nasty stuff into the air, it gets sucked up into the return, pulled through the system, and then distributed through every single supply vent through the whole house. So his sneeze just reached Dad on the other end of the house in his office. And so when you're selling air quality to somebody, you're just basically saying, look, we're just trying to clean up what's already in here. It's really not mind-boggling what it's doing. It's just a better way of entrapping and actively going into the air and scrubbing it, trying to clean it up before you start spreading all that through the house.
So, Josh, why do you think people just blow that off as nothing? Air quality and water filtration. Do you feel like they feel like it's a snake oil tactic thing?
I think so. I think partly it's a misconception about you're just trying to upsell me something else that my ticket price now becomes this high premium number.
So my question as a business owner, so what?
Yeah.
So I'm making money by giving you a better way of life.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want a nicer house, you got to pay money for it. Mm-hmm. If you want a nicer car, you pay money for it. I mean, because it costs more money doesn't make it a scam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, and I guess I'm really, really struggling with that, especially as I'm really believing in our quality of our products. And I think that the value is so tremendous. It just doesn't make sense.
I think, too, if it's unseen, I can ignore it.
Yeah.
If it's not affecting me right now. Like, if I'm not actively having to go to the emergency room because I took a sip of my sink water and it's like, oh, I'm having a whatever attack happen, or, you know, I breathe something in, now I'm having an asthma attack, which people, I mean, probably do. Like, literally just breathing the air in their house, probably start having asthmatic episodes. Like, I'm sure that happens. Yeah. But I think a lot of people that don't have a lot of those pre-existing health conditions, at least that they don't know about already, is I can't see it, so I can just whatever. I can pass it off. I can keep doing me. Yeah. I'm fine.
The same people is crazy. If you're a person who's in a gym working out every single morning, and you're not drinking filtered water, mate, it's crazy because you're working your muscles. Okay, you're dehydrating your muscles and joints. You're putting wear and tear on your body. Hey, it's having a result. You're burning calories. You're losing fat. You're getting stronger. Get it. But you're also doing a lot of damage internally. You know, I know my son plays baseball, and he was complaining about his knee hurting. I was like, man, how much water are you drinking? Like, I get it. You're going to have injuries. You're going to have wear and tear. You're going to have things as an athlete, that little things that bother your body. But how are you lubricating that? Are you lubricating are you making sure you get a good steady dose of chlorine on your joints? You know? No, you need water. You need pure H2O. I mean, and your body knows what to do with that. If you're trying to repair muscles, how much of muscle mass is actually water? Like 70%?
Yeah, the total body is
70.
Over 70%.
Muscle mass may be even more.
Yeah.
You know, and you're drinking water that's trying to dehydrate you as fast as you're putting it in. You know, you see these people walking around now with these massive cups of water. Mm-hmm. Why do you think that is? Because they have to drink that volume of water to offset all the preservatives and all the chemicals in the food, the air, the shampoos, and now in the water itself. Mm-hmm. I promise you drinking correct water, non-chlorinated water, additives, proper alkalinity, your body can probably operate on half of what people drink. You know, I used to ask people all the time, I say, do you think the old timers, you know, when they took a little trip down the road into town, do you think they carried around a giant canteen everywhere they went so they can drink water every 5 minutes down the road? No. They got up, they drank from the well that morning, they stopped and drank a well in the afternoon, they drank again that evening, and they're fine. They got enough, their body was fine. And a nutritionist I work with, we're going to have on the podcast soon, he told me, he said, well, they also didn't eat Doritos going down the road and drink a Red Bull and then have 4 cups of coffee and do all that in chemically contaminated water. Mm-hmm. So we're having to do so much more. And what's flushing all that? What's filtering all that? Our kidneys, our livers, just working and pounding overtime. And so here at ACE, we perfect and protect. And as we see these things coming, we're wanting to tell our customers, hey, look, I don't have all the answers, but I got this one, man. You got to start here. This is a building block. That's something you can check off your list. If you're still sick, that's one you just don't have to check off your list. Mm-hmm. Water's not the problem, you know? So Dave, you're an HVAC guy. So, tell me, working at ACE, because I want to back up a little bit.
Josh has got some origin story questions up there too.
Does he really?
Yeah, he does.
We don't have to go all the way back. It's just some thoughts.
All right, you told me to get in here and start talking. I'm in water filtration right now, man. What are y'all looking at over there?
We're going back.
I get to see the screen, so I've been preparing. I've been preparing my answers up here.
Oh man, you got to quit doing that.
Scripting.
I'll tell you the origin of him.
Yeah, sure.
I met his mama.
Well, we're gonna bleep. We're gonna bleep the next 5 minutes.
My origin story is right here.
And David came along.
Yep, here I am. Yep.
Dave's one of my smartest kids, and especially in the technical.
Hey, this is
realm.
recorded now.
One of my smartest kids.
Oh, he saved himself.
I can edit out the one of.
Yeah,
One
there you
of
go.
my
David is
smartest
the
kids.
smartest kid I have.
I'm going to tell you what.
Yeah.
All my kids are smart. All of them are smarter than me, too. So here's the deal. I got some that are extremely witty. He is too. I got some that are extremely creative. I got some extremely mechanical. They all have their different intelligences. I have some that are artistic. So intelligence comes in so many forms. It's not something metric. But I can tell you now, I don't have a child currently, unless Tommy or Cash comes up, that can match David when it comes to technical logic. Mm-hmm. Would you say so, Dave?
I don't know. I mean, it's
some
what
are pretty good.
It's what I enjoy. So if you love what you do, then you're gonna naturally, probably gonna be good at it. But
so I got a story to tell about David. David, when he was gonna get into manufacturing. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And I told him, hey,
there's a lot of things I was gonna get into.
It was good. So in like middle school, he started a company called Blue Moss Lure Company. He started manufacturing fishing lures. Mm-hmm. And I still have a batch of those in my desk somewhere. And then his interest took him into electricity, controls.
Yeah, the electricity was laid upon me by necessity, I would say.
Yeah, kind of like framing for me.
Yeah, framing. I started framing, and I guess I'll jump into some of these questions you had.
That's
up here.
fine. Y'all are answering for me.
I grew up, obviously, my dad framing, and was around the building, industry my whole life, doing this or that, whether it was electrical, a little bit of plumbing, not a ton of HVAC really. Most of that was done by others, but just kind of grew up around that. And then, I really enjoyed it.
Grandpa's electrician. Yeah.
Both I got several uncles, but two of my uncles are very, very competent quality electricians. And so I used to watch them work, and, there's something about watching, when you're, just remodeling can be nasty. It can just be nasty. And I would be, pulling down lath and plaster, wire, just covered in dust and dirt, and wheelbarrowing, stuff from the Georgia buggy and concrete down to footers, all kinds of stuff. But I remember my uncles would come in on our jobs because my dad would use them as subs. And I really was fascinated with how they laid everything out. It was a lot neater. It was a lot cleaner. And so it was in my mind that maybe one day I'd do electrical, but at that point I was kind of invested in doing some of the remodeling stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I got married. I met my wife when I was young. I was 16.
You were 16 when you met her.
16
man.
When I met her. Got married at 18. And then decided that I kind of wanted to get out, do my own thing, get away from where I was, my hometown, try to branch out a little bit. So I ended up moving to Charleston, which my dad had also been there. He'd built some houses and stuff up through there. And my uncle was there, who I was pretty, still am close with. But
Slosh Lee.
Senior
Slosh Lee lives there.
Mr. Slosh Lee, yeah. So I moved up there. Me and my wife, newly married, we moved up there. And I was working with my uncle doing some similar type stuff, cabinetry a little bit, just all kinds of tile remodeling. And there was a guy there, who I knew there in Charleston, and he was hiring for a helper for electrical. And so I had to take a pay cut, but I kind of figured it was now or never. And at the time I didn't know it, but he was an electrician. He's a master electrician, but he specialized in HVAC controls. And so I didn't even know enough about electrical at the time to know that I wasn't really getting into residential electrical. I was getting into a subset of the heating and air, world there. And so he's the guy that my dad taught me how to work. He taught me how to just hard physical labor. And this guy here, I'm very close to him. I have a lot of respect for him. He taught me a lot about what it means to be a tradesman, as far as the mechanical side of things. So, like I said, I was 18. I was very irresponsible. And I mean, showing up, I'd forget my tool bag in the truck, leave it at home, show up in the day with no tools.
I showed up to work when I was with no shoes on one time.
How do you get there fully with no shoes?
Oh, you'd be amazed how quick you can turn that switch off.
Wow.
I jumped in my truck and drove to work with no shoes on. Well, I didn't drive. I was riding.
You went to church one time with one brown shoe and one black shoe too.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
got them that number of kids.
Yeah. I just
you'll have a different belt on, a different.
Yep. So, anyways, yeah. So I really I really had a lot to learn. I remember he wouldn't but he was real fair.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you know, he would always he'd get on to me, you know, which I was used to from my dad. My dad, he's changed a lot now in his old age. He's changed a lot now. But back in the day, you had to pick and choose when you was gonna mess up. You didn't want to mess up around him when he had a 2x4 in his hand.
Hey, easy now.
I'm just kidding.
You catch a slide.
Hey, I did.
Now, if he was reading the newspaper, that's a good time to mess up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That don't hurt, does it?
No.
Ain't too bad.
But no, so yeah, but he was real fair, but he'd make you feel about that big by just simply talking to you and just being like, I mean, you didn't think about the job. I just bought you a pair of linemen's and you showed up without them. You know, you're not logging into your T-sheets to clock your hours every day. You're not. I noticed that you got a D. He would give me when I finally did get a van, my whatever company he used would grade my driving every day, and it would send him an A, B, C, or a D. And he'd be like, you know, you got a D in your driving. So he'd come to me real calm, real collected, never really aggressive, and he would just be like, you got to work on this, you got to work on that. And you know, when you're 18, that's hard to hear, especially coming from what I felt like
world of framing
the free willy world of framing and working for my dad. And kind of, I mean, I was only 18, so I didn't know a lot, but I did kind of feel like I knew some sort of process and modus operandi for the framing world.
Mm-hmm.
So to come into electrical or control subset and just start back at zero and just eat humble pie every day and hear about all your shortcomings, it's tough, you know. And so I remember thinking, you know, this guy's he's just not fair. It's just not fair. He's just too hard, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And but now looking back, I'm very, very incredibly thankful for all the things that he'd make me rip pipe work down. He didn't care. He just wanted it to be right. And he's one of the few people I've ever met in the trades that I wish I would see more of this. And hopefully one day when I'm at that point, I can do the same with somebody. Is he genuinely would slow down to teach you in the middle of a job. Like he knew when to turn and burn, and he knew when there was time to just hand me stuff, be quiet, you know, that's fine. But any chance that there was a time where you could learn from him, he would sit there and he would explain not only why a three-way switch is wired that way, or why you're measuring in direct current voltage on this control system whenever it's being fed with alternating current. He would explain to you the theory of electricity,
right,
and how it actually got from the.
And I think that's missing in trades now, like understanding. We talked about that in one of our podcasts, additionally knowledge and understanding. Like you can know how to wire in receptacles and know how to put it in the panel, but do you understand, you know, some of those things that Dave's talking about? How do you think? I mean, you work with me, both of y'all do, on the direction of ACE. Mm-hmm. This past year, we spent a lot of conversations, whereas most companies spend, and ourselves included, spend money on what I call KPIs, or key performance indicators, trying to get, you know, the maximum yield, you know, from your company. Have you noticed, and do you want to talk about what we're trying to accomplish? Because I feel like what you're describing there is what we're beginning to implement now here in conversations and training. And do we have the resources, you think, internally to take our technicians to another level?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, that's something hopefully, you know, I can take some of those things that I learned from those who taught me and pass that on to those who now work with me here at Ace.
And that's the thing. Like, what I've noticed is when I start having to teach, I start having to actually know it for the first time in my life.
Very true.
I've built tons of houses and projects, and it wasn't until I started training guys that it really was cemented. Same thing with the plumbing and the trades or business. And you, I feel like, are there now to where you have several guys under you, and are able to, whereas you used to be able to kind of work through a project and get it fixed or repaired, and you're pretty sure your brain can tell you that you got it right and you knew that it was right, but to articulate that, to draw that, I had a boss that used to tell me, if you can draw it, you can build it. True. And I think it's the same thing with the trades and mechanical. If you can draw it, you can systemize it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's what you saw him working on today. Drafting out, a full project, exactly how the circuitry was going to be designed in that building.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. When you start teaching something, that's when you realize because people are, if they've got half a decent brain on them, they might be an apprentice or brand new, but they're still smart. And so they're going to immediately latch on to questions in their minds that you just glazed over. But if
they'll
you can't,
find you.
They'll find it. They will find it, and you'll kind of be caught flat-footed. And so I think a lot of that has to go back to even with kind of talking about the direction for Ace and trying to get deeper in knowledge, get deeper in just quality work, quality people around us. You gotta, the person who's learning, and that's something that I had to learn when working under, my boss there in Charleston, the master electrician, was you have to be humble and you have to want it. You gotta want it. And so I remember, like,
got to be hungry.
Well, when you see somebody coming in now, we got a new guy who I really like. And I don't know who all comes on the podcast, but
they gonna be listening, so you don't have to tell their name.
He, but you can tell he thinks about it when he's off work, and that's something that we've had a lot of people come and go through Ace over the years. I mean, probably, I don't know, a lot. But what's missing in a lot of them is just no desire to continually educate themselves off the job, And so I feel like that's one thing that is helping me.
I know. I feel like I learn the most, and I know you do, Josh. This is where you can jump in because I know you're not a technician, but you're immensely involved with Ace's pricing, marketing, brand, podcast. You have a lot of work that you have to work on, and you still have to do your job every day, which is to try to get the phones to ring. But I know as I'm listening to him talking, I was just telling Trina today, I said, I think I need to just come back home and work from my desk at home to separate myself from the everyday, all the pounding of the people that just pop in the office with questions and things that you have, because you can't really lock in and focus. I always have my biggest, clearest direction, wake up calls or wake up moments in business, or even in a problem that I'm working on in the field at home. You can deep study. There's no pressure. You're there. That job, nothing's going to change for the next 8 hours till you get back to work, or 12 hours till you get back to work. So your mind almost relaxes, opens up, lets you read. Then you kind of sit on it, kind of think on it. I've solved problems in my sleep, in my dreams, in the shower. It just light bulb moments come on. You have those too?
Definitely. And I think, I know I've sent you a text just at the most random time and been like, I had to send that to somebody because I didn't want to forget this thought I was having. But definitely driving or like sitting there trying to fall asleep, anything like that. And there was an interesting thing I heard the other day is it's almost like a forced boredom that pulls that out of you. So one thing they're doing in China is they're having kids, they're basically forcing kids, and you can take this how you want, but forcing kids to stare at a wall for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, before they engage in a test or something like that. So you have to like force them to be bored and just completely shut off.
Man, this ain't gonna sound right, but that was church for me. I mean, it was. I mean,
as
I would
a kid,
sit there, I sat in church so many times and solved like my whole life's problems.
because you'd
businesses.
emptied it. You'd emptied that out.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Versus,
I might learn a lot of good stuff too, but let's face it, you gotta sit there for a long time sometimes.
Especially as a kid. Yeah. Especially.
They'll like, I think it happens, especially, driving, shower, anything that's monotonous that you understand the rhythm of without having to think about it, your mind can go there. But if you're actively at work in constant problem solving mode, it's a hard time to start engaging in that. Like you almost want to engage, get your answer off the clock.
I'm glad we're talking about this because this helped me
clock.
defrag a little bit because that's my job as an owner is constant problem solving mode. And since that's my job, if you don't push back, sometimes it becomes your identity. So like everybody just looks at you like that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to answer my questions, my problems, and you start to even say, that's my job is. I'm supposed to do that. But
you're the problem guy.
You're the problem guy.
Yeah.
Problem solver.
Yeah.
And you are, but you can't get creative. You can't get deep that way.
No.
We can't grow that way.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big problem for businesses.
And you gotta enjoy it. Like, you gotta enjoy what you're doing at home. You can't, I don't know, maybe it's not like this for everybody, but if you're at home and you're making yourself learn more about HVAC, almost like it's just so hard to do and you're just being so disciplined. Maybe that works for some people and maybe that's how it is, but at least for me, like I didn't do it because I had to. I did it because I wanted to. I enjoyed learning more because I tell you what, I hated being caught flat-footed on the job the next day.
There you go.
And there was always, and that goes back to my boss there in Charleston. He would call you on the carpet. He'd be like, well, why don't you? We wired 47 of these sensors. Why are you still not knowing how this is mapped back to this?
You know what that reminds me of? I'm gonna just go ahead and throw it on out there. I bet plumbers listening to this, they're gonna know what I'm talking about. I can't tell you how many Navy and tanklesses we've done. Hundreds, probably. All right. Every time you run a Navy and tankless, you can, if it has a recirc, you can use, a crossover T, which is a simulated recirc pattern in the machines, or you can run a dedicated recirc line. But the settings in the machine are different. So there's a valve on the back that you've got to set correctly. There's dip settings that have to be set correctly. There's parameters that have to be set correctly. But it's only two options. It can be one way or the other for a recirc. I finally had to, I think I emailed it to you. Did you see a weird email that you didn't know what it was?
What in the world did you say?
Okay.
I thought that was a mistake or something.
No,
I didn't know what happened there.
I sent that to you to attach to Navy and tankless water heaters so no one ever calls me again on the same question that we've only asked 5,000 times. Every tech goes out, knows how to put a tankless water heater in. Hey, boss, what's the parameter settings on a dedicated recirc? Which way does the valve go? Like, come on, guys. Like, this is the stuff that I'm talking about.
Right. Yeah.
Do y'all have stuff like that in HVAC?
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
I think you're 100, like definitely on with you gotta want it.
Yeah.
Like I feel like desire is what opens the door.
Yeah.
Like that's what you have to initially have. Cause like you said, you can sit there and bang on a book all day and you consume nothing of it. You just read words.
But I want to have a little word of caution on that because there's a problem in our society today where you haven't found your true passion. There is not a man alive that has a true passion to become a great service electrician. Probably.
No, like I said earlier, necessities laid upon you.
Yeah, at some point,
yeah.
Most kids, I'm going to be an astronaut. I'm going to be a football player. I'm going to be a movie star. I'm going to be a cop. I'm going to be a soldier. I'm going to be...
Matter of fact, we probably resolved not to do what we're doing when we were kids.
Well, I'm definitely not going to do what my dad did.
I'm not doing what my dad did. I'm not... I ain't going to be out there in the cold working every day.
But once you grow up, and you look at your level of education, your circumstances, you have a question, what do I want to become? And you can use your trade as a means to get to that point. And what happens, though, is that you still have to learn to be excellent. So if you absolutely despise your work, you do have to get out of that and get into something that you can at least tolerate. But my word of caution is that in today's time, the minds are so dull and so overstimulated and entertained, none of these young kids have true passions. I challenge anyone to ask their teenagers, what do you want to be when you grow up? What's your true passion? I knew at mine was 12 years old, I wanted to be a cowboy. I didn't want to be a horse trainer or a cowboy. Now, I grew up, I dabbled in it. I have them as hobbies. It doesn't work that way for me. I can't support my children that way, but that was my passion. You know, we have those things. We should. If we don't, but then I got into carpentry. It's not my favorite thing, and I did it for 20 years. Okay, but during that time, I tried to be the best carpentry company, construction company that I could be, you know, for that time until the times changed and I found another interest. But, you know, sometimes it's not your passion in the strictest sense, but you have to learn to become passionate about what's feeding your family.
Exactly.
And maybe y'all can elaborate on that and make that a little clearer.
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, there is a distinction. You know, I don't think anybody's born with this innate, like you said, an innate sense to be the best electrician or even understand electricity. But
if they are, they're phenomenal.
Yeah,
they're phenoms, no doubt. Yeah.
But once whatever crossroads in life have led you to a point where you are now working under a master electrician or working under a whoever it is in the trades, and you're doing that every day, that's the time where you say, okay, this is what I'm doing. I'm committing to this. And then you get excited about it. I mean, you might as well, you're going to be doing it for 8 hours. You'll be spending, I wonder what the math is on that, but you spend probably way more time at work working on tools and with your coworkers and all these things
you do at home.
than you do at home. You know, I'm not sure exactly what the math breaks down to, but you might as well get into it and do something that
and here's the cool thing is if you apply yourself under that a master electrician or that HVAC technician or installer or whatever your situation is, the cool thing is that you don't have to spend a lifetime to become excellent at that. You know, you're like, oh, he's been doing it 25 years. He has 25 years experience. My argument is that there's nobody in the trade that has more than 6 years experience.
I'd like to hear that breakdown.
You want to hear that?
Yeah.
Okay. You can have someone who goes to work and applies himself on everything and puts their heart into it for 6 years straight, and he's going to know so much about so many things. He's going to be an excellent tradesman. Some would call him a journeyman. I might even go so far and say that's master time. 4 years, you can master any trade with application in 4 years. I have a theory. It takes 4 years to become competent in anything, truly competent, but it takes application. My next thing is most guys who come to me and say, I've got 25 years experience, have about 2 years experience doing it 12, 13 years in a row. You see what I'm saying? So if I go to work and my job is I'm an electrician and I've got to go to work and I've got to wire in this room and I've got 4,000 of these rooms in this plant that I've got to do. And I've been doing that. I've been doing it from plant after plant after plant across America. Am I an electrician? Yeah. Do you have 25 years experience doing it? No.
Sure.
You have a year or two experience doing the same thing over and over again. Right. So that's where, as a tradesman, especially in a company like ours, you get exposed to so many things in 6 years that I would take any one of my HVAC technicians with 4 to 6 years experience, and I'll say they're more talented and more skilled than the average installer or HVAC maintenance guy or whatever the case is anywhere in the country. Because they're going to work on every type of unit. S-Series, mini-splits, Amana, Carrier, Train, Goodman, York. I mean, you name it. And they don't know what they're walking into. So they've got to understand concepts. They've got to understand schematics. They got to understand diagnostics. They got to understand tech support. They got to understand AI. They've got to understand just so many things to be able to master that. So I argue that it takes 4 to 6 years to become an amazing technician. So if you're 24 years old, and I'm not recruiting right now, it sounds like I am, but if you're 24 years old and you've never worked in a trade and you're like, it's just not my passion, you can become an outstanding technician by the time you're 30. And you can have a full career that will always feed you and your family in 4 to 6 years. By the time you're 30 years old, you'll be making great money. You can travel anywhere in the world and work. And then you can start your interest in something else.
So would you both lead people to the trades? Like if it's somebody who's like, well, I've kind of thought about maybe that, or if they just don't have anything.
I like boot camp for those guys. Mm-hmm. That's why we're building a training center for it.
To just test their metal.
Yeah.
See if you got
what did I tell you? I was going to start putting guys on. The first thing they're going to have to do.
Wall.
I have a concrete wall there. I was saying I need a 3/4 inch hole and I need a 2-inch hole going through these concrete walls right here.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good way.
Here's
to do
the
it.
bits.
Yep.
If you don't come back the next day for training, I know you weren't going to make in the trades. I'm not going to jump you in there, learn how to wire in a panel box, or I'm not going to show you in there the cool work on how a tankless water heater works. Or how to braze. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to learn how to do the fun stuff.
Yes, that's a good point. People get disillusioned sometimes with what it looks like working in the trades, because especially perceived higher end service companies. Probably everybody in your area, you have somebody in your mind that like those guys are next level. Those guys are great, but 90% of that work is it's hard work. Like that, the last part, the troubleshooting, the wiring, programming systems, finally getting to see the S series run, testing the inverter, testing efficiencies, checking refrigerant charge, weighing in the charge. Some of the stuff that's more mentally stimulating and that can be appealing to people. That's a small percentage of what we do. A lot of it is just dirty, hard.
So Dave's, he's a top tech for us. Mm-hmm. Really, if we were a little larger, it would be full-time HVAC service manager, right? Guess what he's doing Monday?
Duct work, ripping out duct work.
Yeah, on a small low crawl space, ripping out duct work. You know what that Do you know what that looks like?
It does not look pretty. I can tell you that.
Paint us a picture.
Most people do not.
What do you think? What do you think you're gonna find when you start crawling under there?
Oh, there ain't no telling. I found some pretty crazy stuff in houses crawling underneath. One time I was working for this lady who was I can't remember if it was her fiance or her husband or boyfriend or whatever it was, and she had a problem up in the attic she wanted me to go look at. So I'm crawling around there digging through the insulation, and I moved some of the insulation out of the way, and there's a full, in a ceiling, you got your ceiling joist, the whole bay, 16-inch bay right there. The whole bay, probably about 12 feet from one end to the other, was full of weed. And it was stapled, vacuum sealed bags stapled in on the sides. And I said, oh my goodness. And then, so that's an interesting thing. I wonder what most people would do. I'm thinking, should I tell this lady that I found this up here? Or do I act like I didn't see it? Like maybe it's hers.
What did you do?
Right. So I'm like, I'm up there and I'm like, man, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I moved some more insulation and there's a second bay.
Dude.
Slam full.
You got a trap house.
Yeah. Moved some more insulation, a third bay. There was probably 5 or 6 bays throughout that attic that were slam full. And I'm like, okay, this is crazy. So then at that point, I'm thinking, okay, if this was this lady's, she knew where the problem was. She wouldn't probably have had me go up in the attic before. If it was hers and she was concerned, she probably wouldn't have sent me in that general direction of the house, because she's a pretty clean lady. Like she's normal. House was in a fairly, nice suburban area. And I'm like, man, that's okay. So I'm getting a feel for her. Finally, I'm like, you know what? This can't be hers. Can't be hers. And so I told her, her face just fell. She was mortified. Couldn't believe it. So I brought her up there, showed her, and she actually told me what it was. It was a trap house before she bought it. And it was in a nicer area. It was in a nicer area, and they were running some sort of whole operation out of it. And so, anyways, they got hauled off to jail. The original owners went into foreclosure, and she ended up buying it. And so she never knew it was up there.
Wow.
And she called her fiance or boyfriend, whoever, the cop, and he came and dealt with it. So I don't know what they did or whatever, but and I don't know what the state at that time. This was probably 7 or 8 years ago. So I don't know what the state regulations were on marijuana and all that at the time. But
Hard crackdown.
I'm sure it wasn't 3 bays worth.
yeah. So, anyways,
in vacuum rack pack. That's
yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. Now you find all kinds of stuff. You find memorabilia under there, and
I think the craziest one is I was remodeling a house on Orr Street, and apparently the husband or boyfriend or whatever the house didn't have sheetrock, so it's like a fiberglass tub insert stapled into the walls, like just nailed, but the sheetrock was hollow over the top, and so there was just like starting from the bottom to the top was years worth of pornography magazines. So when you pull the top layer, I was like 2000s, bottom layer was like 90s, and all the way down, like I think it was 70s or 80s or something in there.
Wow.
Like literally a layer of history.
Wow.
That had been, just dropped behind the wall.
Yeah.
You find some crazy stuff.
Yeah. No, you do. So, but yeah, I mean, painting that picture, man, it ain't pretty. I mean, you can be sliding up under there with insulation getting all down your shirt,
and it's gonna be raining all weekend.
It's probably
so
gonna be muddy under there. There probably ain't no sump pump.
Yeah,
you're gonna hit your head about 47 times on the floor joist.
Breathe in that stuff.
Yeah. And people wonder. I had a lady tell me that the other day. We quoted her a ductwork job, and I gave her a pretty fair price on it. And I mean, she was blown away by the price of ductwork.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been doing it long enough to know our competitors and their pricing.
Right.
I know kind of where we fall, and most companies do. They know where they're at, and so the price I gave was mid-range. If you were to get 3, we would lower to mid-range. It's probably where we fall.
Good place to be. Yeah.
Yep. 9 times out of 10. So I was like, nah, no, this ain't my price. Ain't crazy, And she was just blown away at the cost to get new ductwork. But again, I think it's just a lack of understanding and lack of knowledge that how much work it takes to get some of that stuff done, and it ain't pretty work, And it's funny. I mean, my wife, she tells me all the time. She's like, I couldn't do that. Like, get in these tight crawl spaces. People, not everybody can even do it.
No.
And we don't think about it probably because I was raised in it, been around it my whole life, but not everybody can really do it. People are claustrophobic. People are scared of
snakes and rats and spiders.
I've been sticking my hand up one time. One time I stuck my hand up in the insulation. I was fishing thermostat wire down or something. And I got lazy and I didn't bring my light with me in the crawl space. I said, I'm just going to run in there. I'd already drilled the hole, pushed the wire down. And so I got lazy. I was like, I'm just going to run in there and stick my hand in that bay and try to find it. And so I went under there, stuck my hand around, and I kept hitting something that felt like a wire, felt like something. And but I was pulling on it and it didn't feel. It was just a weird thing. I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is where I pushed the wire down. So I went back, got my flashlight, and went up there where I was looking. Big old black snake. I was grabbing him, touching him. The black snake. He's just sitting right there, right where. And he was about, no, he's about 3 inches away from the hole I had popped through. He's just looking at me. So
that's
I
wild.
mean, I ain't gonna lie, I had to gird up my mind. I was like,
yeah.
I pushed that wire down there, stuck my hand, grabbed it out real quick, got on down the road.
They will bite you.
You didn't have that fear in you, though.
They'll bite, but they don't have that fear. Huh?
You didn't have that fear, and you didn't know what it was, so you weren't scared.
No, exactly.
And so it's not.
No, I couldn't see nothing.
Yeah.
He had that dog mentality.
He had that dog.
I had a dog that every time he heard a noise in the bushes, he would fly as hard as he could straight into them bushes at night and just want to find out what it was.
Oh, King?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember King.
Look, man, I'm talking about like, it could be a snarl in there, and he's like, and he just leaps into the bush.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's dog mentality right there, because he don't know if it's a bear, he don't know if it's somebody with a gun, but no fear, he just got that dog in him.
Yeah, that's Justin right there. We need to get Justin on the podcast to talk about the
Justin
dog.
talk about the dog.
He'll talk about the dog.
Hey, look, I've worked with some good ones. Some of our connections over there at Piedmont got some dog in them.
Piedmont, yeah.
Old Cole over there, man. I've seen him climb through some brush, thorns, tunnels, and knife a hog.
Yep. Well, and I think that's the difference too. Going back to, you can have all the technical knowledge. We've had a few like that over the years. Guys that were very competent as far as knowledge goes, but no ability, no diligence, and probably just a lot of laziness.
Yeah, just don't want to get out there and actually deliver.
You can hide behind it for a while in the trades. If you're a knowledgeable guy, smart guy, and you understand systems, you can kind of get away with it for a while and hide that. But eventually, it's going to come out if you're lazy. If you're in a truck. Because look, I'm in a truck. That's the perspective I give right now.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, there does come a point in time in the trades where you're good enough to where you're in the office, and that's what they pay you for is your mind.
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you now. Ask Josh. I'm gonna tell you now. That laziness will follow you.
Yeah.
I know you don't relate to that one maybe just yet.
Sure.
But I'm gonna tell you now. Coming into the office is much harder for me to knock out some of the reporting or some of the metrics that we have to knock out. It's much harder for me to do that than it is now after years of being in the field. So laziness is laziness. And the guys that won't go under a crawl space and won't get after it, ain't gonna come into the office and get after it either.
Probably
it's a
not.
mentality.
Yeah. No, it's true.
There again, unless that's like for instance yourself, I don't think you would thrive in the field, but you were groomed to be diligent and execute in an office. So you're starting on the total other end of the spectrum. Right. But I guarantee the same mentality that took you here, and I know you will disagree with me, but I'm telling you I'm right. If I had to take you out and you had to feed your family and put you into a crawl space, you would be fine. You would hate every minute of it, but you would be fine. And you would work. I mean, that's the difference.
Yeah. For sure, you got to do what you got to do. But yeah, having that, because that's human nature, you know what I mean? And I think you'd be lying, anybody who sat there and said they don't still feel all those emotions.
What do you think it takes to be a technician here versus maybe another company? What's I know we touched on a little bit, like, I'm just going to leave it there. What do you think is the hardest thing? Or what separates being successful and happy at Ace versus having a job at another company?
Yeah. I'm trying to think the best way to answer that question. I know.
So where I was going with it, I know the demands that I ask of an Ace technician. I have very little patience for laziness. And work to me is work. It doesn't really matter the trade or the title behind your name. So as an owner, I'll go out and dig ditches if that's ultimately what's required of me.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. So people aren't aware what they're getting into when they come over to work for us.
Yeah.
A lot of times. Because in the trades especially, there's a little bit of snobbery when it comes to, I'm not touching that. That's not my job. I might give you a referral to somebody I know, but I pretty much stay in my lane. And there are definitely certain things you do want to stay in your lane on.
And I would say we keep them there.
And we do. But at the end of the day, you have to be a team player for sure to thrive here. And that's not easy. You know, I mean, there's a lot of days you want to just run your 4 or 5 stops or however many you got, finish at 3 o'clock, not call nobody, and just take it to the house. You know, I mean, there's a lot of days that you're going to want to do that. And some days it does. You can. Some days it affords for it. But you definitely want to have that mentality of calling around, even if you're not in the trade. So, like, I do HVAC. But there's sometimes I go and help a plumber. I stand by a ditch, and I'll just get the stuff that falls in the ditch out while they do the technical stuff, you know, and I don't mind. I don't feel like that's out of his, the owner, my dad's here, but any boss, they should be able to ask you to do general things like that, and you just do it. You work for them. And so that maybe I think sometimes with other companies, big companies, there's not so much of that cross.
And coming from the construction trade, I think that's what's going to ultimately set this company apart long term. Is certainly we have our specialists and we have right tech, right job mentality, and they're there. But there's a book called Running a Successful Construction Company by David Gerstel. And it's a very simple book. It was a Black & Decker book. The guy's incredible. And he talked about how to make really nice living by having a few good guys. And everything in his operation was seamless and smooth and small. And he ran a very, very tight ship. And there is a builder we've mentioned before, Daniel Fowler, and he runs his operation very, very similar. I love his projects, love their methods. But anyway, everything they do is just, his guys can run stone. They also dig. They can paint. They can run some basic plumbing and electrical. They're just very knowledgeable, handy, hardworking guys, and they understand that the mission is the build. And I feel like that's what we're requiring of our guys more and more, especially in the leaner times. It's like our mission is to build. We have a good job. We're well paid. If something falls inside your wheelhouse that you are capable and competent at, then we may ask you to help out from time to time. We understand.
You didn't say comfortable. I noticed you didn't say comfortable.
No. Comfortable's got very little to do with that, because it's highly uncomfortable. I mean, I have to run service calls sometime out in a truck. It's highly uncomfortable for me to run a service call because my truck's not set up exactly the way I want to. I know Dave can do electrical or HVAC, and it's very annoying to cross work because you're not comfortable at all doing it. So that's why even with that, we say, okay, you can help in electrical, but I think your job today is with a magic marker. That helps a lot, right? So he can go out and lay things out. He can order materials. He can operate and help that job run really smooth, but he doesn't have to frustrate his mind with, do I have my fish tape? Something he may not use hardly ever in the HVAC world. I mean, you probably do a little bit, but anyway, so I would say that's probably the difference, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, no, for sure. We're not a massive company. I mean, we're
small.
We're small, and so you gotta be willing to pick up. And I'm sure a lot of technicians can relate to that. Working for smaller companies is like you got to be willing to pick up some slack. So I end up doing things that maybe somebody with similar experience wouldn't be doing at a larger company, but I don't. It's just where we're at. You know what I mean? And I enjoy it because I think that's one thing people maybe don't realize. When you're a smaller company like us, how hard you have to work to get in front of somebody and to get the job. And I mean, so I don't even understand it. I'm in the truck most of the times, but I pop in the office and I can hear and see all the things that Josh is working on, or you're working on, or Maddie's working on, just to get me as a technician in front of somebody. And I don't think about that very rarely as a tech. And so when you do understand that, it makes you care a lot more. Like smaller companies, they do care about getting your job. And I don't think, I'm sure big companies do too. They do, but it ain't the same. I don't think, because, I know, like, when I go to a job and quote it, I want it. Not from a monetary standpoint, but I want to do the work. That's how I get to continue to educate myself. That's how I, keep my body in shape. I want the work. You don't
want to ride around and get quotes.
I don't want to ride around all day. And so, I think people should know that about us when we come to your house. We want your job.
I do get that sometimes with a name like Ace. We get people thinking like they're nationally owned, and we had that question multiple times recently. The answer is an emphatic no. It's very, very small, family and friend owned, if you would say that, or at least owned and operated. So, if I had one thing I wish I had not have done, would probably been named it Ace. I probably should have just named it Justin's Family's Plumbing, because we'd have probably been so much more successful in a small community like Williamston or Piedmont, because people love that. They like to see small family businesses that care. And it's exactly what we are, but that's your job, to get that messaging out there. That while we are, that we're also professional, and it's almost like sometimes you feel like you can get penalized for professionalism. You spend so much training and time to make sure that you have the nice clean trucks, the nice clean uniforms, the iPads, the tools, the equipment, the pro presses, the cameras, the locators, the pump trucks, the jetters, all the things that separate you from somebody in a truck. and then you charge them the exact same thing they are, but just perceive that you're a big operation. When really all we've done is put all of our money back into the customer's interest.
Right.
Or you're slightly more, but they're getting so much more value.
I don't even think we are more.
As far as, a lot of times we're not.
Yeah.
But even if on the times that you are higher, like I wish that people would compare apples to apples. You know what I mean? Like, what are you getting for this quote? You're getting the availability to call somebody at the office anytime that you need.
Anytime
they
of day.
are going to answer every time. Warranty registration, paperwork, documentation, photos, service notes. There's so many.
How many
things.
times have we actually just pulled out a whole system and given a brand new one?
Many times.
Right. Do you think that that's feasible for a small operator in a truck?
No. Well, you probably get a lot of people just don't answer your call.
That's
you
right.
You know what I mean? So, I think that too. You know, that's a pretty big part of what we're trying to do, because that's how you do keep that work coming in. We need every call we can get. You know?
Like email correspondence with me. Like I would have nothing to do with this job as far as once from a marketing standpoint. Like once you're at the door, my job is complete in a sense. That's not how we view it. But if you just take yourself completely out of it, you can say, all right, I'm done.
Yeah.
But you know, you can go to my computer. I have emails back and forth with a customer, like 8 emails, because she was asking me questions on stuff like, can you send me this warranty information? Can you explain this to me? And it's the one you sat and talked on the phone to for like 40 minutes or something crazy. You know, not crazy, like it's a bad thing, but like
show you how many hours that sometimes we'll put into to back a sale and keep it from backing out of a sale.
Right.
Hours. Yeah, a lot of work. And even so, like I said, this might kind of sound conflicting messages. We're a smaller company, but we do a lot of work. We do a lot of HVAC system installations, and for our supplier, I think we're one of her larger Amana dealers here in the upstate. The reason I say that is because it's afforded
at least for
us,
as far as residential
goes.
Yeah.
Okay. We're not
new construction.
There's plenty of businesses that buy a lot more Amana units around here than us, but
no, we're
just
definitely
on the
like top.
Yeah, on the from a purely residential change out driven business model.
Yeah,
we purchase a lot of units from our distributor, and what that's afforded us is it's given us the ability for them to kind of put some training into us as far as just the product itself. Like you mentioned earlier, I was able to fly to Texas for a week and actually meet with the engineers for some of those products that we're presenting to customers, and not just presenting a product that some sales rep just came and told you, hey, you should sell this unit, it's got a great warranty, blah 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 blah. But like being able to say that I've actually met with the engineers for this product, was able to discuss problems I'm running into in the field with them and see those changes documented, and some of them come about, whether it was through me, probably not, but multiple people. But even to have that ability to come and to talk to them and say that, all that goes into, you know, just we have so much that we have to bring to the table whenever we come and talk to you about buying a unit or buying a span panel or buying water filtration or whatever it is that smaller singles, you know, one truck guys maybe didn't do because they couldn't, not because they didn't want to, but they can't afford
just
to.
Just as time.
The
I mean,
time it takes,
we have a huge investment just in Josh, just to be able to sit and wrangle all this stuff down for us.
Right.
Like I mean, when I was in a truck, I go back and look at my own personal processes compared to what you guys are doing now, and you would blow me out the water as far as what your execution and the amount of value you're providing the customer now compared to what I could do owning the company in a truck.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So there's strength in numbers. I mean, I like to quote a Bible verse about once or twice in one of these things, but you know, 2 is better than 1, and a 3-fold cord is not quickly broken. So, you know, you want to hire just a small operator. They have their place. They're great guys. A lot of them will be wildly successful in the years to come. Same time, there's projects that's not for them. You know, two guys are going to get the job done more efficiently. They're going to be able to run their problems and support each other and bounce ideas off. And three is even better. You have somebody handling the warranty. You got somebody handling your scheduling. You got someone handling, quality control. You got someone doing the install. You got somebody doing the diagnostics and the tune-ups. And then you got somebody doing the invoicing and being able to help you get financed. There's just so many things that happen to make your life and your project so much more seamless.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. That's how you protect a customer.
Right.
That's how you give them the ability to perfect their homes. Because for so many years, you just had to operate like, I hope you have the money to give me, $12,000-$13,000 to get this new air conditioning system. Now we don't have to do that. We can find the financing that you can afford. We can get you the system you want. We can repair that system and patch it up and give you a long-term plan of how to get a new system. Mm-hmm. We're here for the long haul, Yeah.
I do want to ask a question. I know we'll have to start kind of closing here shortly, but from my perspective, this is going to both of y'all. So you can pick who wants to go first. But for the dynamic of working together as a father and a son, like that's something, I've never experienced that. So I'm an outsider, and I'm sure a lot of people have questions about that for the family-owned business. Like, that is a legit thing for us. It's not just something we can slap on a billboard and say, oh, hopefully they believe that. Sounds pretty good, huh? No, it's legit. So what is it like working for your dad, and what is it like having your son as an employee? Like, do you feel like that is a beneficial thing for your relationship, even when it gets uncomfortable and like lines have to be drawn in the sand, like we're on work hours, I can kind of challenge you a little bit more here.
I think. Do you want to answer that one first, or you want me to?
Go for it.
So the number one thing I hate about a family-owned business is vacations, trying to take vacations together, because you shut the company down. That's the hardest thing for me as a dad and a grandpa. The second thing is there has to be still authority in a chain of command, and understanding where that time has happened, where your sons are not your children. They are a valuable asset inside your organization. And then I think we've finally gotten there. I think someone asked you that question the other day, like, when did that happen? And it does. It should happen. You should have enough respect and enough humility to realize when a son is his own man, and he's taking it. He knows things you don't know. I mean, flat out. I mean, you don't want me working on your S series. You don't want me touching your air conditioner. You don't want me to touch it. Okay, and I can build you a house, but you want that guy to come out there and put your air conditioning system in, and everything else about that mechanical part of the home. Plumbing, I'm good. Building, good. Lots of things I'm good at, and lots of things I'm better than he is at. But there's a lot of things he is much better than I am at. So understanding those things, I think, is critical. And then, of course, as a small business, you always want to see your sons successful. You want them to do better than you, and you feel like you're kind of responsible for that. If I'm being truly candid, as well as we pay, you still want to you want to give more, you want to provide more, you want to open more doors, and you lean on them to help you open those doors. So at some point, they begin to carry the weight of the business, whether they're owners or not. So I think those things can be stressors. The pros of it is, as a dad, I just love seeing my boys out there, and I'm very proud of them. I love when customers call me and say, hey, man, you did a great job raising that boy. And I obviously give a lot of credit back to their mother. But definitely the work side they got from me, how to work and expectations, and how to take tough coaching, I would say. All my boys can be coached hard, whether they played sports or not. These guys didn't play much sports. My younger ones do. And these guys can be coached just as hard as the ones that play sports.
So on the coaching side of it, because I did have this question too, do you feel like it is a scenario where, my son's playing for me, I'm going to coach him harder because he's my son?
For sure. Yeah, for sure. There's not now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. There's definitely
that was in the cards.
All right,
for sure.
I'm gonna answer that question.
Yeah. No, I think that I was kind of chewing on it over here because family dynamics, family businesses probably all operate a little differently. All of them are different. And in our dynamic, I'm not really in a leadership role as far as decision overall for finances, decisions for company marketing. There's some major decisions that I'm not involved in yet. And so I wonder how that's going to play out. We'll probably have to, as we get into that side of things, but I'm actually glad because it does afford us a level of there's still a hierarchy that's very clear. He's still the owner. I'm still the son. And so, or I'm an employee, when I'm at work. And so, sometimes I almost wonder if family businesses where they go wrong is they end up blurring those lines too soon or bringing their sons up into leadership way too fast, and he ain't ready for it. But just because he's your son, you just go ahead and do it, and then you just end up fighting over everything, you know. And so it's not really like that here, because I kind of have my role, and we try to keep it there. He has his role; it stays there, and that to me probably is one of the biggest things that makes it successful right now is I know my place and he knows his place, which is, but it's tough. Like there's some days where,
and I have had to just go out to sons at different times and say, man, hey man, I'm sorry. I just too hard on you. I mean, I don't know if I've had to do that to you yet, but
yeah, I mean, definitely, over the years, there's ups and downs and everything.
No,
but
I know a couple of them for sure. I've had to do that too.
Yeah.
Because that's a rare thing. Like to quote Notorious B.I.G. in the song 10 Crack Commandments, rule number 7, he says it's completely underrated. Keep the family and business completely separated.
Yeah.
Money and blood don't mix.
Yeah.
Like so it's a rarity that it is like this dynamic.
It's true. It is tough. I think one of the bigger things that's hard for me is the business is a large part of our lives for sure. And so there's definitely days where I don't want to talk about Ace at all. I just want to show up, see my dad, and just talk to my dad. Not anything with Ace. And we try to get those conversations in when we can, but family business, it is our lives, and it's kind of where we're at. So that's tough. You know what I mean? You're gonna have all that, and you kind of got to learn when's the time to talk as a father and son, and when's the time to talk as a owner and employer and employee. And having Shane here, he helped a lot with some of that, because rather than me going to my dad with problems I'm seeing in the field or problems that are affecting my scheduling or my, I have my own personal endeavors and things I want to do with my time off or my, whatever it is, I could come to Shane. He could kind of be that liaison between, keep it a little bit more clean lines. You know what I mean? Rather than
Shane's on the Hall of Fame for a reason.
Yeah,
he was definitely instrumental in its time.
Yep,
100%.
So, yeah, it definitely comes with sets of challenges, but at the end of the day, I really enjoy working with my dad, and I'm thankful for it.
I enjoy working with you too. Yeah. I'm always impressed.
Yeah,
all you guys, man, are smart for the most part.
And at the end of the day, you don't never know where life's going to take you. You know what I mean? I might be here for a long time. You just never know. And so I'm trying to just enjoy where I'm at.
Yeah, that was a hard part for me. It was when I realized that all of them just didn't want to help grow this and expand it and take their part, which my vision sees it could happen. It could be lucrative or whatever the case for them and set them up, and it just doesn't necessarily mean that's what they want or they don't want to do it that way. And so I even as a grown man kind of floundered for a little while. Well, then what am I really building here? Because, and then I realized that, this is kind of what I do. I mean, I am passionate about my business and my customers, and I mean, it represents 25 years of my life. So it's going to just keep on holding the course, you know?
Yep. So, yeah, for sure. And then along the way, we get to learn a lot of things wherever it takes us.
Maybe we can get him back again. Maybe
I feel like we were just barely scratching the surface.
Yeah, Monday, and start actually getting some tech talk like about his routine, what he does on a service call, some other things like that. And, that gives a lot of background into kind of about Ace and how that, how Dave plays a role. So I mean, all of our customers know you.
Yeah.
I do want to give you just 2 quick little questions to just round it out at the end. And this can be like rapid fire. You don't have to take forever on it if you don't want to, but
sure.
Are there any, and because I asked him this, are there any books or anything that you've read that have really inspired you to kind of become who you are now, or just even it can be, hey, I just enjoyed reading this. Like any recommendations, favorites, things like that.
Well, I mean, the first one I'd have to say the Bible.
Yeah, yeah.
That's gonna be my first recommendation. Second recommendation for a book in particular, probably. So my dad always had a pretty good bookshelf growing up, and so I've always liked to read. So anything he read, I read. To be honest with you,
he really did. He would read them.
Even when I was young, I mean, I think I read Rich Dad Poor Dad when I was like 14. So,
There you go.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad, was it 21 Laws of Power or Rules of Power?
Robert Greene.
48 Laws of Power.
48 Laws of Power.
Yeah.
That was a good one. I really like that one. Those I like Dave Ramsey. You know, Dave Ramsey, to me, I like his philosophy on a lot of things. So those are things that probably motivate me in my day-to-day life, trying to be better. It's perfect time to talk about that stuff because it's 2026, brand new year. So yeah, now's the time. I've got my own goals this year that I want to see from my own self.
Can you share any of them?
So yeah, I mean, one of them is I mean, I guess we can get personal. It's just debt free. I want to be debt free.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so
It's tough to do.
It's yeah. Me and my dad were talking about it. You know, there's it's tough. So trying to figure out, because I have a wife and 3 children, and I've got a lot of things that I put my heart into here at ACE, and then also outside of ACE that take a lot of my time and my attention. And so trying to figure out how I want to move forward with that. Like I said, Dave Ramsey and his philosophies, I just like the idea of and no man, you know. And so
let's hold that, because I don't want to glaze over those questions right now. We've been on here a while, but I feel like I'd like to talk a lot about some of that too, some of my own personal experiences, my ups and my downs, and where things are kind of heading right now. I think it would be a really fun discussion from the perspective of someone who's battled it a long time and someone who's just starting that battle. So, let's get into that maybe a little bit in the next episode.
And David's coming to the door, new customer or existing customer, either way. Is there anything that you would want just them to know? Like it just is short, like, hey, I'm a person too. Like, I don't know, whatever your thing
just
is. Like,
know
is
that
there
if
anything?
I'm talking to you about something, I don't want to sell it to you. That if you could just remember that. My job is not to show up to your door and tell you how terrible your house is and make you spend money. That is the worst part of my job. Is talking to somebody and telling them they got to spend a lot of money. Like I said, I just was telling you, I want to be debt free, which means what? I have debt.
Yeah, and you don't want to make people spend money.
I don't want to spend money on things I don't want to spend money on, because it affects my goals too. And so if people could just remember that and understand that I'm telling it to you because I'm a professional, it's what I feel like needs to happen, and then you can go from there. Whether you do it or not, that's totally your call. But
you just want to have respect for that customer, and you want them to respect you as well.
Right. Yeah. So.
Well, David, thank you for taking your time, sitting down with us today.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. We look forward to doing it again.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. It was a lot of fun.
All right.